Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to a new episode of Darwinian Delusions, and today we're going to be covering atheism and human rights. And with me today is Hamidullah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
How's fasting?
It's brilliant. The weather is nice and we are staying indoor, so that's helping as well.
Yeah, no, it's going quite quick this year actually.
Yeah.
So look, Hamidullah, atheists are usually seen as people who are promoting human rights, speaking about freedom of religion, speaking about love, speaking about empathy, all of this. But being an Afghan, being from Afghanistan, and being born in the middle of an era in which you had an atheist communist state invading a Muslim state, would you agree with this idea that atheists are peaceful and they believe in human rights?
No way, not at all. Not only me, if you ask any Afghan who experienced this, that's absolutely not true. The kind of a force the Soviets used in Afghanistan on civilians, on innocent people, that nowhere qualifies for what you just said.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The brutality they have used, the way they have made Afghanistan suffer, nowhere ever you can associate those words with someone who has got an atheistic ideology. And you can see that in Afghanistan. Even today, you will be surprised. You'll be like, how today the rebels, the destruction which the Soviets left behind, compare that to what Afghanistan was before. No one with heart will do that. With heart will do that.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching a documentary and I was also discussing with you some of these things, that when the Soviets would go to a village in which they would say they are rebel fighters, there's freedom fighters, they would just level the village.
Yeah, that's another example. I mean, this is not something which is hidden. Everyone knows about that. If they're looking for someone, for an enemy or freedom fighters or people which are against their invasion, they will just label an entire village for maybe a dozen of people or 5 insurgents or freedom fighters.
They'll kill everyone.
They will kill everyone, not humans. Whatever moves,
Whatever moves,
they will just label it. Everyone knows that about that. Even, let me add this, and not to confuse people, I'm giving you my word. Go and check the Soviet soldiers in their documents.
What they said
will testify to this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that you can find that in a lot of documentaries, especially some Soviet soldiers who might be living abroad, or some even their own country have made video documentaries in Russian languages. They have spoken about it, what they have done, the killing, how they kill innocent people.
Yeah.
Well,
and using sophisticated weapons against villagers.
That's exactly what my point was. When you say them being
human
saviors,
rights,
human right, and suddenly they're showing up to a country which doesn't even have any sophisticated weapons. We've been given that after a couple of years after the invasion by the Western world. They have started coming supporting us. But when at the start,
nothing.
There was nothing.
And this is a gigantic atheist state invading a Muslim state. We've
in
never
a very
brutal way.
In a very brutal way, in a state which is very limited with resources.
Yeah. And now here's the thing. Atheists, they speak about as if being an atheist you're going to believe in human rights, which is obviously nonsense. And
rubbish.
I mean, with the Afghans, how many people roughly died under the atheist regime in the last those 10 years?
Well, I mean, there are different reports and different stuff, which takes numbers before. Until once they left, start till the end, the number goes to 2 million.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah,
2 million people.
Yeah.
And imagine,
forget about what we did to ourselves.
I want everyone to imagine this. Imagine a Muslim country invading an atheist country and killing 2 million atheists.
Oh.
That would be all over the news. They'd be like, atheists would be crying about it. Yeah, atheists speak about human rights. Yeah, if you look at their very bloody history against the Muslim world, there's a reason why Muslims are very apprehensive.
I've got one more thing to add here.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things. How many disables?
Yeah.
How many widows? How many orphans without anything?
Yeah.
Plus, landmines. They have left 25 million land mines in Afghanistan by that regime.
And they were
And
killing
they're
people
still,
after
they are
left.
still killing us. So technically, Russians are still killing us. If you don't believe me, go and search it.
25 million.
Yeah, you will find that in Afghanistan, every year, people die or lose their arm or leg from the Russian mines.
From the Russian mines. So look, we spoke about definitely their brutality, their killing. So let's now get down to the education here, and then we'll go on to freedom of religion. So atheists, they talk about education, freeing people and giving people different perspectives. When these atheists took over, did they just come along and, just give people options like, wow, this is atheism, this is Islam, this is Darwinism, pick what you want? Or was this indoctrinated and imposed upon the population?
I mean, you're not going to find an example or anything in our recent history before the Russians came to Afghanistan that we were fed up with whatever our system was. Afghanistan is a cultural and religious country, and we were not fed up of that we needed a savior to come and tell us what to do. When they came to Afghanistan, they enforced it on us. People would disappear if they are practicing Muslims. Like obvious practicing in public, if you're praying like...
Did you know anybody personally, or in your family, or your neighbors? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in 85. It will be naive of me to say that, yeah, I remember something. But my elders, they tell me their own accounts, their own experiences or stories. They were at home one night and shouting started at the neighbors. And they went out, and on roofs there were soldiers, and they told him stay indoor. And after a couple of hours, when everything gone quiet, they came out to inquire. They found out that the neighbor was taken away. Now, he was taken away, okay, fine.
Was he a fighter, a rebel?
Nothing. That's the thing. What he was openly criticizing things which are not Islamic. And he was praying actively in his workplace.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they were taking people from mosques and taking them, no. But if you're in a workplace working in a
Government,
you are a civil servant, and your ideology is a religious ideology and stuff like that, they will start watching you, they will flag you, and then slowly see a time comes, they will just take you away. That's it. A lot of people, they left their families and stuff, they have to run away. They have to disappear.
Yeah.
My own family, people have run away.
And just yesterday, we were watching a video in which the communist president, he was mocking even Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is a part of the Quran, which basically means in the name of God, the Lord of mercy, giver mercy. They'd even mock that. So there's definitely, this whole idea that atheists are peaceful, are loving, are this and this. This is totally not the case in Afghanistan. But also, Hamidullah, as you know, we've been discussing that it's the same thing with the communist atheist regime upon the Muslims of East Turkestan, right? Which, by the way, the majority of Muslim even countries do not speak out against this oppression, right?
China is very big. There's a lot of money.
There's a lot of money. There's a lot of, sadly, Muslims just keep quiet about it. But, if we look at the oppression that China is doing, it's the oppression that the Russians were doing on the Afghans, but on steroids. It's just a lot more, quicker and stuff. Do you think that Muslims need to start creating this narrative now that actually atheists do not even have a right to speak about atheism and human rights? Because we can see that in China, we can see that in Afghanistan, and these are prime examples. So all of what they're giving us right now is lip service.
Definitely. I mean, it's a very simple thing. I mean, study our recent history. Look at our recent history. These big wars or big killings were done by people which were not even religious.
Yes.
I can name a couple of them and bring
Mao,
Mao, Stalin, Lenin, even the ones on the other side were some of them. So get the total of people that they have killed,
These
a
atheists, yeah.
make the total of that, and then bring it into and compare it with other
Islam.
people, Islam or religious people which have defended themselves in that defense.
Last 100,
In defending themselves, how many they have killed in defending themselves. That will give you a clear
Absolutely.
answer. That's it. That's the end of the story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in this episode, of course, we're doing this in Ramadan in East Turkestan, as in the previous video, which was uploaded on this channel by myself and Arsalan Hidayat. Ramadan there, they cannot even fast like we're fasting. They're forced to eat during Ramadan. Their children are taken away. The men are in the camps. Chinese officials are living in the houses of these Uyghur Muslims. And on top of all of this, we are basically getting this narrative from atheists that they believe in human rights, they believe in freedom, they believe in this, when this is an atheist state doing this to Muslims, just like an atheist state did this on Afghanistan.
And specifically on the basis of their religion.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll never find that when atheists have power, when they're a minority, they're peaceful. When they have power, it's a different story. So thank you so much, Hamidullah, for coming on to this program. Inshallah, we're going to have you in the future to discuss more aspects of the atheist rule in Afghanistan, and also the atheists, what they're actually doing, the communist regime, to the Muslims in China. Jazakallah khair for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Assalamu
having
alaikum.
me. Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.